Good afternoon. Hello. Thank you so much for being here for the Resilient Communities Project end of year celebration. This is my 6th celebration and the 6th anniversary of RCP. So we're so excited to see such a great group of people in attendance. We're excited to tell you a little bit about the program. If this is your first celebration or first exposure to RCP, we'll give a little bit of background, talk a little bit about the history, introduce you to the staff, hear about the great projects, hear about the fantastic partners that make all of this possible, and just celebrate all of that amazing work that's happened over the course of the year. I'm Carissa Slaughterback. I am the Faculty Director for the Resilient Communities Project and the co-founder, along with Mike Greco, and I'm also the Associate Dean at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, which is represented among some of the work that has been engaged with RCP over the years. So I'm going to kick us off and just tell you a little bit about the history of RCP. I'm going to review a bit of background about the program, tell you a little bit about the work that's happened this year. We're going to hear from, we're going to hear about the community partners and the many contributions that they've made. We're going to hear as well about the faculty partners who support students, who are very engaged in this program and contribute in so many ways. And then we're also going to hear later on about the Best Student Poster Award. So you've seen lots of great work from students around the room today. For those who are faculty, you've already seen work accumulate over the year, and partners have been so essential in contributing to this work and supporting the students. We're excited to give some awards to the top student work this year. So RCP started 6 years ago, and I've been so lucky to be able to work with Mike Greco, who now serves in the director role, in founding this program, building this program, evolving it over time, and really working on something that I am really, really proud of, and I think has made fantastic contributions to this university, to faculty, to students, and especially to communities. We have a vision for resilient Minnesota communities that are able to adapt and thrive in response to social, economic, and environmental changes. We hear a lot about resilience and sustainability today, and I think what we're trying to do is really think broadly about the ways that communities can become more resilient. We have a mission of promoting community resiliency and student learning through collaborative partnerships between the University of Minnesota and local communities. And I think one of the most significant words in that statement is collaborative. And this is something where communities and the university are working together on an ongoing basis, on a sustained time period, to really work together to do something that is unique, do something that is different, and do something that is impactful. So we have been around for 6 years. We've had 6 community partners. We started off with Minnetonka. We moved on to North St. Paul. We worked in Rosemount. We worked with Carver County and a number of communities and organizations within the county. We worked with the city of Brooklyn Park, and we worked with the city of Ramsey leading into this year. Over that time period, the stats I think are pretty exciting. We've worked on 132 community projects. And key here again is that these are projects that are generated by the community. As communities apply to be partners for the Resilient Communities Project, they're identifying the things that they want to work on. It isn't faculty, it isn't students approaching communities and saying, can I do this project in your community? It's communities saying, these are things that matter to us. They're important priorities for the community that come out of visioning efforts and planning efforts and conversations among staff, conversations among community members about what matters and what opportunities are there to bring in additional expertise, bring additional energy and excitement around the priorities that exist in these communities. So that's a really exciting piece. Those projects have connected to 235 University of Minnesota courses. Those are courses that engage graduate students, professional students, undergraduate students, individual student projects as well, and really connect across the University of Minnesota with 46 departments actually having been involved in the last 6 years related to the Resilient Communities Project, including at some of the other campuses. And we've connected with over 2,000 students over the course of those years. So I think that's pretty extraordinary. And you see that arrayed at the bottom of some of these slides. So we're very, very excited about all of the folks who've made this work possible. In terms of this year, we worked with two communities, Scott County, which brought us 14 fantastic projects. That brought us the opportunity to work with 20 staff within the county. And that's across multiple departments, multiple functions, multiple issues. And you can just think about the breadth of opportunity that is offered to students for learning and opportunity for collaboration to really engage on important projects. In addition, with Ramsey County, 14 projects and engaging 25 staff. These two counties are quite different in terms of their setting, the issues that were important in those different counties, and that again just added to the opportunity for students to engage with a wide range of issues, for faculty to be able to connect with them, and for many, many great partnerships. Over this year, with those two county partners, we engaged with 38 University of Minnesota courses in 25 University of Minnesota departments, and that meant over 280 University of Minnesota students just this year being engaged in the Resilient Communities Project. Many, many students in the room. Can you raise your hand if you're a student? All right, great. Lots of students. Thank you for your work. It's really fantastic. So I have the pleasure of transitioning the program for a moment to one of the great champions of the Resilient Communities Project for so many years. When we were thinking about this, we certainly started having conversations with folks around the university, and Andy Furco, who is the Associate Vice President for Public Engagement here at the University of Minnesota, was certainly someone who was a champion, who gave great advice, who has continued to be a supporter of the Resilient Communities Project, and comes to this event every year and engages us in, I think, important conversations about how to advance public engagement at this university and with our community. So I'm going to invite Andy up to share a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carissa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be very brief, but I did very much want to take a moment to express my thanks and deep appreciation for all the great work that's happened this year, for all who were involved in this year's efforts, and there are many of you. I especially want to express my thanks to our colleagues from Scott and Ramsey counties for opening up your doors to allow members of the university to come and work with you and partner with you on issues that matter to the counties. And this is something that we really appreciate, giving us this forum to be able to work with you on very important issues that make a difference for all of our residents and all of our Twin Cities, especially in Scott and Ramsey County more broadly. And over the years, as Carissa mentioned, we've really been trying to ensure that the work that we do is of high quality, and I think a lot of the work that has happened has been about engaging faculty and staff and students who are really committed to wanting to make a difference, who want to partner in authentic ways, who really want to address these issues and enthusiastically have stepped up to do this important community engaged work. And I want to just say thank you to our faculty, staff, and students as well for making UM proud. I especially want to thank Carissa Slotterback and Mike Greco. Carissa, who was the founding initiator of this, who really, it was brainchild of Carissa and Mike to put this together, this idea of working in a place-based way, looking at a geographic region, taking a look at how we might focus those efforts in a way that's concentrated over an extended period of time. And this was, believe it or not, a bit innovative in that a lot of the way we do our public engagement work here at the university is very piecemeal. We have a project here and a project there. They're usually short-lived. They usually come and go, and not a lot is often accomplished in terms of really thinking about these very large, complex issues, these intractable issues. And to be able to move the dial on these very complex issues requires some collective action. It requires these projects, these initiatives, to be able to work towards something that's grander and bigger around systemic issues that make a difference. And the Resilient Communities Project is one of those efforts that are really allowing us to do that kind of work. So thank you, Carissa, for your leadership, Mike, for your tremendous, outstanding work and leadership in making this happen over the last 6 years. part of, I think, what RCP has revealed, it is a shining example of what can happen when we all do work together, when we bring together the various resources within our communities or within the university to really collaborate in a very coordinated and collective way. And to see what can happen when we do focus our work, whether it's geographically or on an issue, when we engage representatives from multiple perspectives and points of view and sectors to really think together about how to make a difference, to take time. 18 months is not a long time for these issues, but it's usually a lot longer than most of the time we spend on these projects, and to really think about doing this work in a collective way. So we started this work with smaller geographic areas, with cities, and we talked about, can we scale this up to the county level, and would this model work? And I think the resounding response is yes, it does, and the great work that you've done are exemplars of that. So I just wanted to say thank you for the authentic commitment that you've all put into this, for all the work you've done, for really being part of this very important initiative here at the University of Minnesota. And I just want to say I'm truly very, very delighted that we have an opportunity today to showcase the great work and to acknowledge your commitments and contributions. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Andy. Really, truly, you've been a fantastic partner for us, so we really, really appreciate it, and we'll be reaching out again soon. So I want to continue moving forward in the program and introduce Mike Greco. Mike, you've already heard his name several times, and is just instrumental in making this program run, but also really offering RCP a vision. Mike and a variety of other folks, members of the advisory committee, member faculty, students, were engaged in a strategic planning process over the last year or so. And that really gave an opportunity to reflect on what RCP has been, but also an opportunity to really think about what comes next for RCP and how do we learn from this model that has attracted a lot of attention. I think it's a model that others are looking at around the university. It's won awards, but we want to continue to make it even better. And I think Mike has been so instrumental in that. There's so much learning that happens year to year about what works with partnerships, how best to support students, how best to support faculty, how to really think about the educational impacts at the university, but also importantly, the community impacts. So Mike has been absolutely instrumental in that. He's a fantastic leader and representative of the Resilient Communities Project. And I couldn't think of anyone better to have tackled this great idea and carried it forward, and he's doing a fantastic job as the director. He's going to tell you a little bit about the community partners from this year, and you'll have a chance to meet them. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Carissa. Thanks for the kind words. So I had the privilege this year of working with Ramsey County, one of our two community partners, on 14 community identified projects. And I think one of the most remarkable things about the partnership this year is the variety and diversity of projects that were part of the partnership, and really the breadth of departments and agencies at the county who were involved in this partnership, and the number of staff. Everything from election administrations, corrections, human and social services, to emergency management, and even the Ramsey Regional Rail Authority. We ultimately were able to work with more than 24 staff at the county who were either engaged directly as project leads. If you were a project lead in Ramsey County, would you raise your hand just to identify yourselves? And then lots of other staff who, even though they weren't the lead on the project, participated in other ways, providing data, helping to create connections to community partners. So we very much appreciate the work of all those individuals in making this partnership a success. In addition to that, these staff were able to collaborate with faculty and students from 22 different courses across the University of Minnesota, and that included courses in 2 departments that we have not worked with previously, which is something we always enjoy seeing happen: Family Social Science and the Department of Political Science. And we also had 8 new faculty participate who had not been involved in the Resilient Communities Project before. So I would just like to thank all of those individuals, the faculty, the students, the staff at the county, as well as residents, business owners, and others in the county who participated in other ways, offering their time to do site visits, talking to students about the projects they were working on, participating in focus groups and interviews. It really takes that collective work and that broad collaboration to make these partnerships the success that they are. So with that, I'd like to introduce 3 county staff members from Ramsey County who are going to briefly talk about the partnership and the impacts on the county. All of these folks were instrumental in one way or another in making this partnership happen and making it successful. So we have Elizabeth Tolsman, who's the Director of Policy and Planning, Lydia Girma, who's the Senior Policy Analyst in the Policy and Planning Division, and both Elizabeth and Lydia spoke last year at our event, if you were at that event. Elizabeth was a real champion of this partnership and getting this proposal off the ground to make this happen, and Lydia served as the coordinator of the entire project from the county side, so sort of my counterpart at the county. And we also have Rachel Frank, who's the environmental health manager. So I'm going to invite all 3 of them up just to speak briefly about their experience.
Thank you. On behalf of Ramsey County, I just want to thank the U of M and all the students and the project leads and our partners for being here. I was just talking to Brad from Scott County, and we were just reflecting a year ago we were here today. And for those of you who were here, I don't know if you guys remember, but I shared 3 hopes that I had from this partnership. One was I wanted to tether this work to our strategic plan and our priorities, ensure that we're advancing family and health and well-being, ensuring economic prosperity, tethering our work to enhancing opportunity and mobility for all, and ensuring that we're modeling fiscal accountability, transparency, and strategic investments. Another of the hopes I had, and this was more of an ancillary hope, was that maybe we can attract and recruit some talented U of M students to possibly work for Ramsey County. And I'll share with you, as a result of this partnership, we've achieved all 3 of those goals. 1, we tethered every single project to one of our strategic priorities. 2, we've hired a student intern to work for our elections department as a result of the Empowering Citizens to Vote project that was done earlier this year. We presented that project to the county board, and so we've already achieved these great results as a result of this partnership. I've been able to attend and hear some of these projects in the past couple weeks, and I've just been really impressed with the quality and work that has been implemented. People have talked about community engagement and racial equity, which are 2 strategic priorities for our county, embedded in this work countywide. So it's just been a really fantastic partnership. I really want to thank Mike for your work and coordination. You've come down during very cold times across the river. Lydia, who's been my saving grace in terms of coordinating this project. When we first wrote that application, we heard you have to dedicate time, resources, and capacity to this work. And it's true. I mean, Lydia probably dedicated at least half of her time towards making sure the success of this project. And then I want to thank the project leads, and many of you here from Ramsey County. The time that you took to mentor and ensure that these projects were successful is really important, and all the students and faculty who are involved as well. Thank you.
Hi, so Mike already introduced me. I was the RCP coordinator for Ramsey County side and his counterpart. I just want to say thank you to Mike, first and foremost, for all of the work that he does. There's so much work that happens behind the scenes to manage projects and to make sure everything goes smoothly, and I greatly appreciate the work that you do, so thank you for this partnership. I was also so amazed with all of the student projects. This was amazing, and it made me actually miss being a student. So thank you for all of your work. Thank you to the project leads who stayed engaged and who were genuinely interested in working with students and guiding students, and who were also quite amazed by the work that you guys all produced. So I appreciate that.
I'm Ray Eden-Frank, aka Rachel Frank. I'm the Environmental Health Supervisor for the Public Health Department at Ramsey County. And I was a project lead. I also had the honor of assisting Lydia at the initial application phase in reading through the proposals that were submitted by the project leads throughout many departments and divisions at the county. And from the very start, I was inspired by the number of creative thinkers and leaders within the county who are really diving deep into some of the issues that are facing the residents of our county that tie back to our strategic plan and strategic priorities, which Elizabeth referred to. And I'd also, on behalf of a project lead, I'd like to thank all the other project leads from the county. It was a lot of work and a lot of really meaningful interactions. So thank you to the other project leads. Thank you to the project leads for the projects at the university. I also want to thank the staff at, in the Policy and Planning Department at Ramsey County. It's been really a pleasure of working with them and across departments. Mike was exceptional to work with, as well as the other staff from the RCP. I had the opportunity to work with the project through the Economic Development Fellowship Program at the University of Minnesota, and the staff and the students in that program were exemplary. And so I have to say, as much as this was something being given to us, I feel like for me, I have a renewed sense of hope, really honestly hope in the future and hope in our future generations and the ideas and the creativity that's emerging. So I hope that, like Elizabeth was saying, that there are other students that we can attract to some of the work and the projects that we do moving forward in Ramsey County.
And one last thing, if you've come to these events before, you know that every year we present our community partners with a lovely plaque created by Wood from the Hood that recognizes their progress toward community sustainability and resilience. So I'm pleased, on behalf of the Resilient Communities Project and the University of Minnesota, to present this to Lydia, Elizabeth, and Ray.
Thank you so much. So I have the great pleasure of introducing another of the staff who've been engaged with the Resilient Communities Project. Sarah Cheetah is the program coordinator for the Resilient Communities Project and is a newer addition to the staff and has just added tremendous capacity, has been a fantastic point of contact for students, for faculty, as well as community partners. And she's going to introduce us to the other community partner for this year.
So I had the privilege of spending the last year working with folks from Scott County on their 14 different community identified projects. We had projects from the Community Development Agency, from Public Health, SmartLink Transit, the libraries, and much, much more. And their projects span topics including affordable housing, promoting active living, planning for autonomous vehicles, managing household waste, property assessment, open libraries, and lots of more interesting topics as well. So we had over 100 students that worked on these projects with 18 different courses here at the University of Minnesota, and even one class at St. Kate's University. So that was really exciting for us to partner with them for the first time. And I was really impressed at the openness and flexibility of the Scott County project leads and their willingness to say yes and take their projects in a direction that they perhaps didn't initially envision, but that I hope was helpful nonetheless. And this openness and creativity led us to working with 4 new departments, including a film studies class in the Department of French and Italian, industrial and systems engineering, and food science and nutrition. So I look forward to staying connected to Scott County, and I'm thrilled that at least 2 of their projects will be continuing on into the next academic year. So I want to say thank you to everyone from Scott County that made this possible, the project leads, all of the staff, community members, as well as the faculty and the students here at the University of Minnesota in St. Kate's who made this possible and really dove into this collaboration. So with that, I will turn it over to the chair of the Scott County Board of Commissioners, Barb Weckman-Brecky, and Brad Davis, who is the RCP Partnership Coordinator for Scott County and the county's Planning and Resource Management Director.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for all your work. Our staff really, truly enjoyed working with you and with the students. It's my distinct honor to be here today. I love the U of M. I'm a U of M alum. All 4 of my kids attended the U of M. My dog spent several weeks in the U of M hospital. My daughter Anna graduates from CFANS tomorrow. So it's good to be back on campus. Scott County's partnership with the University of Minnesota's Resilient Communities Project has truly been useful, productive, and rewarding for all of us. The talent and the inquisitiveness of the students really brought an energy and an enthusiasm to the project that's been just great. It's been great for staff, it's been really good for community members. We need that future-looking curiosity and enthusiasm. It really invigorated the work that we do. The professionalism with which the students embraced this project was wonderful to see, and it helped us. I think it helps us as staff, as policymakers, even as citizens, to up our game a notch when we see students being so invested in the work, truly caring and truly looking to the future to make a difference. Students from this project worked with staff in our transportation division, worked with staff in our assessment division, worked with our libraries, even talked about things like edible landscapes. The true variety of projects was really amazing. The benefits to the county, to the future of Scott County and its residents are yet to be seen. It was our hope and our intention to create practical and directed experiences and opportunities for students to take forward when they go into their next adventure, including maybe working for Scott County if they don't end up at Ramsey. But what we as a county received in return was so much more. The Resilient Communities Project is a wonderful example of the three purposes of the university: teaching, research, and outreach. I truly believe in those three missions. I truly believe that we need to integrate them, and this is a perfect example. The president should be here seeing that you're doing such a good job integrating those three important missions. I think sometimes people think that those missions operate in silos, and they should not. The true benefit is going to be if we combine all of those. So, Scott County, you know, we're a fairly, people might say, fiscally conservative county and local government, so there's countless nice-to-do projects. There's all kinds of things that staff would love to do, but they don't always get done. This work really helped us think into the future and do important work that's going to benefit citizens and benefit our county. So I hope those of you who are here, the students, know that you truly made a difference in where we're going, decisions we'll make, and services that we'll continue to offer. So this partnership with RCP has been an amazing gift. We're very thankful to students, to the faculty, to the administration, and there's just a lot of the Scott County staff here, our county administrator, division directors, all kinds of employees here. Could Scott County employees raise their hands? There's a lot of you here. Thank you. Thank you for taking this on. I know we ask a lot of you every day. And thank you for taking this on, because it was a multiplier effect. It gave us so much more than we could have done alone. So, again, thank you for not just participating in our projects, but forming true partnerships and giving us results that are going to change the way we do work and we deliver services in the future. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Chair. Well, this is such a special event to see all the work that's been done this past year, both for Scott and Ramsey County. The energy that you feel in this room is the exact same energy I felt throughout the year when I came to campus here and went to different presentations throughout the year, when I joined some field trips around Scott County, when I just did some periodic check-ins. I could feel the energy. The students were asking such good questions and new questions and making us at the county think about things so much differently. Like the chair, I really want to thank the project leads that are in the room here. You did a lot of work, countless hours mentoring, helping the students think through their projects, give them feedback, and hopefully ultimately here to see the final product and celebrate with them. As the county project coordinator, I want to say a big thank you to Sarah for making the past year so successful. Sarah is a terrific matchmaker, an excellent coordinator. Daily I would see an email from Sarah with updates on where the projects are at, what students need to get some work done or need to connect with our project leads. Without that daily kind of nurturing, I don't think the project would have been as successful. And thank you for the countless hours you spent down in Scott County. You were a regular. I would see you in the hallways at the courthouse, and I wouldn't even know you were down for a meeting. She was at our kickoff event at our county fair, so I knew right away the dedication she'd have to spend nights and weekends down at the county helping us kick off this great relationship and great partnership. Like Liz, when I was here last year for this celebration, I still wasn't exactly sure what we were getting into at Scott County. I'd read the brochures, I'd gone online, I knew that, that we would get a chance to help us build some capacity. We're asking a lot of tough questions, we're facing a lot of issues down in a county that's one of the fastest growing counties, and so I knew that we could get some resources and help us look at those issues, train students for real world practice, produce some good actionable information. I knew that would happen, and I can look back and say, yeah, we accomplished that. That's exactly what we got from this partnership. But we got so much more. What I didn't know going to this partnership is just the unique thing that happens when you match the energy here at the University of Minnesota with questions and ideas from our county staff. And it was fun to see it come together in rooms and see kind of the blending of ideas, new ways of looking at these issues. And I thought, wow, this is really the magic of this program. It's bringing the resources here with the ideas in the local communities and thinking about things entirely different. We had some big questions that we're facing in Scott County. How do we make housing more affordable for livable wage earners in one of the fastest growing and highest median income counties in the state? How do we curb the rising costs of delivering our transportation projects, our highway projects that require sometimes eminent domain settlements? It's not sustainable if those costs keep falling on the backs of our taxpayers. How do we think differently about mobility in our suburban and rural setting in this age of rideshare and ownership? How are we going to manage a never-ending and only increasing stream? If you saw the poster in the back, you saw the projections of the amount of waste that our county drop-off and sorting facility is going to have to handle. How are we going to manage? How do we sustain that kind of growth? How do we think about local food production and consumption differently beyond just community gardens and farmers markets? We have those, but what else can we look at? And we had students helping us answer that question. How will our major entertainment destinations like Canterbury Park, the Renaissance Festival, how are they going to transform in the future when we see this growth of autonomous vehicles and connected vehicles? I hope you saw some of the posters that laid out that vision for us here today. How do we respond to changing desires to access our county library services and facilities in this age where everyone wants to self-check out or have 24/7 ability to acquire information? Our standard hours of operation just isn't good enough maybe. We need to think about that service differently. How do we responsibly sustain growth and development in our rural areas of the county when we see the rising costs providing all the public services that those residents are demanding? So these are big questions that we looked at during our comprehensive planning process, pretty bold questions. And I'm proud to work for a county that asks those big, bold questions. I'm even more proud that we found at the University of Minnesota an opportunity to explore those questions. And as I said, the students helped us answer those in really unique ways. Going in, I did not think we'd have industrial and systems engineering students spend the day at our household hazardous waste facility looking at our workflows and thinking about how we could change our floor plan layout to collect waste more efficiently. I didn't know we'd have GIS students mapping out different locations to acquire lots for a community land trust. I didn't know planning students would be looking at our entertainment facilities, again our freight hubs, and again thinking about what the future is going to look like with autonomous and connected vehicles. We had film study students that came down and had put a documentary together looking at our different housing programs and how those programs impact individuals. These are all different ideas that I had no idea we'd be thinking about here at the end of the program. All in all, the University of Minnesota students and faculty who assisted us in our 14 research projects provided us at the county some truly valuable tools and products. But for me, probably the most valuable thing we got is they inspired us at the county to approach our big questions differently if we truly want to be a more sustainable, resilient community. So thank you again, Mike and Sarah, for having us be part of this program. It was a really valuable experience.
We also have a beautiful Wood for the Hood plaque for Scott County as well. And I expected to see it in a very prominent location in the government center the next time I'm in Chappaqua.
Thank you so much to our county partners this year. It was fantastic to work with you. Thanks to Mike and Sarah again for presenting the plaques to honor the contributions that the counties, the staff, the community members made, both in Scott and Ramsey County. It's fantastic. I think Brad mentioned inspiration as something that you gain, but I think we gain it a lot as well. And to really understand the work that's happening in communities, the innovation that's happening there, and really the energy to do really, really great work in service to the public is something that gives us a lot of inspiration here as well. So I'm going to invite Mike back up in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to just highlight the next part of the agenda, and that is to present the Outstanding Faculty Partner Awards. We have a number of faculty in the room. If you're a faculty member who worked on RCP this year or in past years, if you'd raise your hands. So we search out faculty. In some cases, faculty come to RCP saying they want to work with us, but in all cases, faculty are bringing expertise, they're bringing creative ideas about how to integrate community projects into their classes. They're supporting students along the way, giving them feedback, being important points of contact for the staff within the community partners, including the counties this year, and they're just really, really essential. And it's been so fun to see the reach of RCP and the ways that we've been able to engage folks from across the University of Minnesota. So thanks to all the faculty. Mike's going to share the awards for this year.
It's my honor to be presenting the award for Outstanding Faculty Partner for the Ramsey County Partnership to Scott Abernathy. Much deserved, much deserved. I reached out to Scott last summer and to other faculty in the Department of Political Science, which, as I mentioned earlier, this was the first year that we partner with faculty from that department, to ask if they were interested in collaborating on a project with Ramsey County that was trying to understand the reasons that there was perennially low youth voter turnout in the Frogtown neighborhood in St. Paul. And Scott replied enthusiastically. He was teaching a first-year seminar for the first time in this past fall called Generation Now, Young Adult Political Action. And he was very interested in the project, which he thought was a perfect fit for the theme of the seminar. I came to discover pretty quickly that Scott had never incorporated an applied project into a course, let alone an undergraduate course, let alone a first-year seminar undergraduate course. And Scott literally redesigned the course around this project from the time that I initially reached out to him mid-summer to the beginning of classes in September. Scott was very eager to have students talk directly with voting-age youth in the Frogtown neighborhood. But the project hit kind of an early roadblock when one of the community partners that we thought was on board to help recruit youth to participate in focus groups and interviews became reluctant to participate in a research project with a faculty member they hadn't really met before. So we eventually found other avenues to recruit participants, but I think one of the most extraordinary things about that experience is Scott decided to invite representatives of that community organization to come to class to do a panel presentation so that his students could hear why they were reluctant to participate and what the barriers were to them participating. So it was not only a great learning experience for the students, but it gave voice to those community partners and the reasons that they had reluctance in working with the university. The project encountered other challenges along the way, as all projects do, but in every case, Scott used that as a teaching opportunity to enrich his students' learning. And what resulted was a truly remarkable project, which is represented here on the poster to my right, that included students conducting exit polls with youth on Election Day 2018 at 3 different polling places in the Frogtown neighborhood. They spoke with more than 150 young voters as they were leaving the polls. and they presented a series of final recommendations to the County Elections Administration Department that the department is already starting to think about implementing in advance of the 2019 elections in November and then the 2020 presidential elections next November. So please join me in recognizing one of this year's recipients of the Outstanding Faculty Partner Award, Scott Abernathy from the Department of Political Science.
Thank you so much, Scott. I am pleased to introduce Sarah Cheetah again to talk about the next award winner.
So for the Scott County Partnership, I'm pleased to award Professor Fernando Burga with the Outstanding Faculty Partner Award. Professor Burga is an assistant professor of urban and regional planning in the Humphrey School of Public Affairs and has partnered with RCP for the past 3 years. We've been really fortunate to partner with Fernando's Land Use Planning course, which is a requirement for students in the Urban Planning Master's program. Fernando's creativity and commitment to equity and community engagement shine through in his course design. Under his direction, students work diligently to create numerous research posters that communicate really complicated land use issues in an easy to understand visual format. These projects encourage both content and technical skill development, and students are encouraged by Fernando to dream big and bold, but to back up their design concepts with precedent, realistic expectations, and community and practitioner feedback. The scope of the students' work is remarkable, and Fernando's long hours and commitment to detail in developing and mentoring students is commendable. So thank you for your continued partnership with RCP, and please join me in recognizing Fernando Burga for the Outstanding Faculty Partner Award.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Scott, and thanks, Fernando, for the fantastic work this year. It's really, really appreciated, and I know the students appreciate it as well. So I want to say thank you again to everyone who is here for all of the fantastic work that has been celebrated here today. We're going to close the formal program for a little while, but we'll be back up here in about a half an hour or so. I encourage you, if you haven't already, to check out the posters, and you have an opportunity to vote for the best student poster. There's a fishbowl that's in the center of the room. It's already getting pretty full, so there's apparently a lot of votes, and it's going to be a really tough competition, but I encourage you to share your thoughts on the student work that you see here, and we'll share a few awards at the end to be able to celebrate all the great work that students did. So thank you so much. I look forward to chatting with you. All right, thanks.